Hey there, Ron's Bass Lessons here. This is Africa by Toto, and of course it's in C minor, although there's a lot of changes, so not an easy one to nail the key down, I don't think. So I'll just kind of separate it into the major parts. I think that's the easiest way to look at the song, at least it is for me. So you basically have your intro. You got your two main verses, which are decidedly different in how the register in which they play them. They play them like a different octave, same notes but different octave. And then you have the solo, which is really just over like a reduced verse. And then you have your last double chorus and your outro with a couple of bass trills. So it's really not that complicated structurally, but I mean it's like other Toto songs, at least in my experience, it's very interesting on the bass lines. It's not like just average bass lining. So your intro, you've got two octaves of the same riff. So it starts on A, and so you're going A back to your A flat here on the 4th fret, and then to your C sharp, which states your key of the song. So you can get there from here, or they also get there from the octave of the A, which is on the 7th fret down here, and same notes, and you're going to still resolve on that same C sharp. So the flavor is decidedly different. Which is cool. So they utilize that in the song, and I say, like everything else, you know, do it to your taste, but there are transcriptions out there which will suggest what they believe when the switch is, but again, I think you just trust your ear on it. You're playing the same notes anyway, so I don't think anybody but you is going to really know. Okay, so the verses, and they do something interesting too with the verses. They don't play the same amount of times through the similar riffs. The first verse, I like to look at it as 3 and 1. So there's like 3 of the same riff, and then it does what I call sort of the pre-chorus riff, which it does at the end of both verses. Even if it changes octaves and notes, it's the same riff. So your verse starts on B on the 7th fret, and actually both of the verses are going to have the same 2 notes. You're going to have your B on the 7th fret and your E flat on the 6th fret on the next string down. So let me just play through, give you an isolated bass track of the main riff of the verses. So on the first verse, that's your main riff, and you'll notice it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. You know, that's the rhythm of it. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and they basically retrace sort of the pattern of the notes, like forward and backward to a point. So you're going B, E flat, and then you're going 4th fret, F sharp. And you're going up to G sharp, and then you're it's hard to do it without playing it. Okay, so it's B, E flat, G sharp, F sharp, and then it goes back to the E and works its way back up to that G sharp. So it's E, F sharp, G sharp till it plays that recognizable. So I'll try to say the note when I do it here. Starting on the 7th fret, you're only playing the top 3 strings. So B, E flat, G sharp, F sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, and then that riff. Okay, so that's the whole main riff of the first verse, and then the last time, which in this case, in the first verse, is the 4th time through, you're shortening that. You're starting the same way, but you're shortening the process. You're going B, E flat, G sharp, and then you're hitting that same end of the sequence riff. So you're going. Okay, so you're actually, in this one, unlike the other in the verse, where you're only hitting each note once, you're hitting this G sharp twice. So you're going B, E flat, G sharp, and then you're doing that. Okay, we'll just call that the signature riff. So that is your first verse, and that last riff, when you shorten it like that, that becomes the pre-chorus. Now my counting between, even at the intro of the song, between the signature riff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's how it's consistent throughout the song when it goes into that riff. So at the end of that pre-chorus thing, kind of the same thing before it starts the chorus, 5. By my count, it's 5. Okay, so the chorus, fortunately, stays exactly the same both times it goes through the chorus. Okay, so the chorus is basically F sharp, D, A, E, and then it hits B again. But it kind of like does it again. I'll show you. So. Okay, so the first time it starts on the low F sharp, and it does this on both choruses. So you're going F sharp, D, A, and then you're doing an E and B thing, and he slightly varies the riff, I think. It's like E, 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 B, or E, B, E, B, you know, however you feel it, but it's the same notes. So again, the first time it goes. And then he starts out, and he starts on that octave of the F sharp, which gives it a different flavor, just like the other riff. And he does that one more time, starting from the high note. Okay, so that's basically, I call that structure 1-2-1 because he did it once starting on the low F sharp, then he did it twice starting on the high F sharp. And then the last time through is going to get you out of the chorus. So okay, so that's how the chorus. That's why I call it 1-2-1, because there's one unique one starting on low F sharp, 2 are the same, and then the last one is the one that rides you out, and they ride you out of the chorus. They start on the same 2 notes, the F sharp and the D, and the A, but then it hits the C sharp on the 4th, the E on the 7th, you know, and if you're familiar with the song, you're familiar with that sound when it gets to the end of the chorus. So I'll do it slow again, the last line of the chorus. And then that, or now as always, I actually spent quite a bit of time hand tabbing this, and the structures I'm mentioning are on my tab. So just my email will be at the end of the video. So just email me, and I'm happy to send you my my hand tab. It'll probably help a lot in the learning process. The visual thing. Okay, so. Between the verse, the chorus, and the next verse is just like an interlude, which is basically just the intro, except it's half as long. The intro is like 4 times through the riff, and this is only twice. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then the second verse starts where, like I said, it's the same notes, but they change the octave of some of what they're playing. So instead of going down to the D string down here, they're going to stay up on the upper string, except for this E flat. They still have to catch this here. So the second verse, the main riff, and like I pointed out earlier, this is shorter. It's one pass through shorter. So the first verse, the structure was, I think it was 3-1, and this verse, the structure is 2-1. That's the way I think about it. So the 2 is going to be this one. All right, and they do that twice. That's what I call the main verse, and that's the same notes you played on the other verse, just in the lower octave. So one more time, slow. Oh, sorry. Did I do that right? Let me just make sure I did it right. Okay, yeah. So you play that twice in a row. And then again, you're going to get your pre-chorus to get out, and they're doing it similar, except the difference is the first time they did the pre-chorus part, they stayed on the G sharp down here. Now they're going to play the octave of it. It's all they're changing. So it goes. Because before you went B, E flat, G sharp, G sharp. You still are, but you're doing B, E flat, G sharp, octave of G sharp, and then that same signature riff. Okay. And then you're going to play the chorus again, which you've already played, and the same thing. You'll have a little interlude after the chorus, and then they'll go into the solo. The solo is going to be the first line of the first verse, the same way as you played the first verse. And then it's up to you at the end of that whether you play the that signature riff down here or up here. You can either, like I said, or whichever flavor seems better to you. So the solo goes one time over the first line of the first verse that you're already familiar with. And then it goes into right into the pre-chorus. So it's kind of like the solo is as if it's the third verse. So they went 3-2-1 on that part of it, but they always play the pre-chorus after it. So again, same pre-chorus as you've been playing. And they utilize that octave again, just like they did on the second verse. Okay. All right. So then you're just gonna, after that, you're just going into the chorus and the outro of the song. And the chorus is basically just a doubled chorus you've been playing. But on the 8th time of the chorus, they do what they do at the end of every chorus. So I would call this outro chorus 7-1 in the structure. You're playing the same riff the 7 times. And just like all the other choruses, it starts out low on the F sharp and then it goes high. You can switch it up if you want. I think they might as well at times, but again, it's the same notes, so you're not really changing anything major unless you hear the difference, and you like it. So at the end of that, after 7 repeats of the chorus, then you do what you've been doing every other time, which is and then the song will then actually ride out on that signature riff. But this time, every other time, until they fade it, the bass player has a couple of fancy riffs that they play. So it's like you play it once, just regular. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's you come from the 4th fret where you are, you slide up to the 16th fret, and then it's like so you're on the 16th and the 18th frets. You're sliding up to the 16th, which on this particular bass, this is a short scale. It's a little tight down here to play it. But anyway, you're basically starting on the 18, hitting the 18 on the 2 bottom strings from the bottom up, and then you're hammering from 16 to 18. And I think they end on the 16th fret and slide back at the end of the riff. So they do that twice total. They do one. They do that sequence twice, and then the last time, again, you play one with without any fancy riffs, and this time you're gonna slide up from, you're gonna stay on the D string, the 2nd string from the bottom, and you're gonna slide up to the 11th and the 13th frets. Just listen to it, to get your take on it. But he's basically stating, I guess, what would be a C sharp 5th right there, which is your key of the song. And then on the record they just fade. You don't really hear the bass. I think it's mostly the keyboard, but that's all the parts. So yeah, just keep playing it over and over again, and hopefully my hand tab will help you. I appreciate you coming to the site to check it out. And as usual, I did put a cover up. As long as there's no copyright issues or whatever, I haven't posted it yet. Obviously, I'm just making it. But as long as they don't stop me with a copyright issue, this will all be able to go up. If they do, I'm going to have to take the copyright, take the cover down, and you can try to ask me for it. I don't know if I'll be able to send it to you or not, but hopefully Toto doesn't have a real strict rule about that. Hopefully it's like fair use and all that. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.